laser focused in an exhausted state of mind.
Especially when you're mushing out in front like that. You're not chasing anybody. It's basically just a race against yourself. Greg, what was the most impressive part of Dallas's victory this year for you?
For me, it was the run from Iditarod back to Ophir, because it got to be 55 below zero, possibly closer to 60 below zero, and the chasers, those teams that were most close with him and competing with him, they stopped in that run. They had to camp out. And I just think that Dallas, from a psyche, emotional standpoint, got to Ophir in a better condition. Him physically as well, I think him personally as well, in a better place than the others. And I think that at that moment in time, I knew that there was nobody going to touch Dallas Seavey, because 55, 60 below zero is the real deal. And he has proven throughout his short Iditarod career, even though he's now won 5 titles, that he's okay with being miserable. And I think that is one of the assets, I think, of all the great champions throughout the history of this event. If you can handle being miserable better than the others, you've got a real chance to win.
And Dallas is 1 mile out from the finish line. It's becoming more and more of a reality that he's going to get that 5th victory. Bruce, what was it like for you to watch history this year as he chases this 5th title?
Well, it is a historic moment because we've all talked about the 5th and the jinx of that, and even Dallas mentioned that jinx. He didn't want to be the weak point. He told us, I'm not going to fail these dogs. I don't want to stumble. And so it's historic. I mean, how long have we been chasing the elusive number 5 now?
Yeah, a long time. I mean, 1991, Swenson won his 5th Iditarod, and you know, Susan Butcher won 4. Then there was King, Boozer, Swingley, you know, Lance Mackey. I mean, it's been a long list now of people who've gone right up to number 4 and have been unable to get to number 5. And now, at a young age, Dallas Seavey is going to get to his 5th championship. And who knows? I think this is the hard one. Like, they talk about getting to your first Final Four is harder than your first national championship. I think Dallas getting to number 5 is probably, you know, the one number that so many people for decades now have been trying to get to, unable to do it. And now I think this opens the door for 6 and 7.
Especially going away from the sport, coming back,
Yeah.
all eyes were on him, and he controlled. I mean, I felt like he had a great grasp on this race, and every competitor in this race knew where he was at the whole time.
Actually, when you're out on the trail, and we're always out there when each team comes in that we're around, I can tell you the first question was, is Dallas here, or what time did he leave? Because you are exactly right. They were judging how much time they could stay. They were judging, even if they weren't chasing him, they were judging their strategy against who they knew was their main competitor after the race got going. And that was always the question, is Dallas still here?
Mm-hmm. And it was fun to watch him and Mitch collaborate this year as well, taking some of his father's dogs on his team.
Yeah, and remember now, this is a team that finished 2nd place in last year's Iditarod. And really, from Nulato in, it may have been the best dog team on the Iditarod Trail a year ago. So Dallas had the pick of the best of those and then the best of his kennel. But that's true. I mean, he's got all-star dogs, but I think a lot of these contenders have great dogs. And Dallas has had great dogs out there, but there was more to this. Like, Dallas was focused like he's always been focused. And I just think that there was something in him attitudinally, like you just weren't going to defeat this year. And he kept it together. He managed them the way that they needed to be managed. And I had no doubt, like when he got to Rona, when he left Rona and headed to Rainy Pass, it's game, set, and match. It's over. He was going to get off that sled and run all the way to this finish line. He was not going to allow anyone to defeat him.
Mm-hmm. And Bruce, do you have a highlight from Dallas's race, something that you feel like you'll remember for years to come, that I remember that part of Dallas's race in 2021?
Yeah, and it's probably more subtle than what most people would look at. I thought the brilliant move was how he set up. He took a break between Roan and Nikolai, and a lot of people probably wouldn't recognize the subtlety of that move. And then he had a little longer run going to McGrath. But what that run did is it gave him a 2-hour buffer, which showed up later and set him up correctly for the run into that 8 hour, clear at the end of the race. And that was really well thought out. And I was really surprised more mushers didn't try to react to it and adjust their schedules a little bit. But what that showed me is that he was thinking so far down the line, he realized I can set this up where I can get to Rainy Pass and only have a 70-mile run to Squintina, which is very doable, and then there's an 8-hour rest to come in here. That long-term planning, to me, was really impressive.
Yeah, and as he approaches the finish line, we're not going to be in Nome this year. We're not going to see those sirens.
We're not in Nome? Kind of feels that way.
It does, it does. And I always look forward to hearing those sirens, but we won't have it this year. But, you know, it's great to have a race and great to see it from start to finish, and it was a great one.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we talked about it in our pre-race piece before this race started that I get it. Every other race in its history is finished in Nome, but really what the Iditarod is a finish line in the greatest competition in the world, coming to the same racetrack, if you will, and putting it all out there, a genetic plan, a training plan, and a desire to put your name on a trophy. And when it all shakes out, the best dog team in the world is going to get to the finish line regardless of where it is. So this is going to be Dallas Seavey's 5th championship, and I think it's as impressive as any other win, and he deserves everything that will come with number 5. And I think that, you know, we should make sure that he understands that, and I know he does. Bruce, he knows how hard he's worked to get to this championship and to get to this finish line first. It's not any less than any of the others. The greatest teams in the world were here. I get it. People are going to argue Thomas Varner's not here. We'll get him back on this trail in a year. But tip your cap. Dallas Seavey's going to win number 5 here this morning.
Yeah, and to me it's still about the dogs. I mean, that's the aspect that it's easy to focus on the musher, and they are the coach. They manage them. They make the plans. They do all the dog care. But it's also years of planning of having the right dogs to run an Iditarod and be a champion.
We're getting word that he is coming off the ice and he is approaching the finish line, so we should be seeing Seavey shortly.
Yeah, history about to be made here tonight, or this morning, I guess. It's dark.
I hear people yelling. There he is.
There's the headlamp. Here comes Dallas Seavey.
Way to go, Dallas, number 5.
And Dallas Seavey has won his 5th Iditarod championship. He's shoulder to shoulder now with the great Rick Swenson. Just the 2nd musher in the history of the Iditarod sled dog race to win 5 championships. His father Mitch there and mother Janine, bib number 23. It's a historical moment this morning at Deshka Landing, and a moment of pride. And Bruce, the dogs are so important in Dallas, and many of these mushers, the first thing they do when they get to a finish line is give thanks.
Pet the dogs, congratulate them, and it's because you've spent all this intimate time with them on the trail and been so focused on their care. So it's really being proud in those dogs, because that's who carried him here.
Yeah.
Bit off.
His granddad here as well. A lot of Seaveys. Of course, his granddad Dan had a lot to do at the start of this race. Mitch, a 3-time champion, and now Dallas, a 5-time champion.
Gam.
And it might be early here this morning at Deshka Landing, but it's a great day in Iditarod history. We've waited a long time to get another champion to win 5. Swenson did it back in 1991, when you think about how long ago that was now. 30 years.
You're the only one that's
Mushers
done
have been
this,
trying
aren't
to
you?
reach number 5. And it's taken all
Thank
this
you.
time. And, the Prodigy a few years ago.
You're so used to
But
being out
now
on the trail
one
and
of the
it's all
great
quiet, and all of a
champions
sudden you come around the
in the history of this race is
Pile
Dallas
of people and
Seavey. In his
lights,
young
like, what the
30s.
heck just
I think that's the most impressive thing. Where will he take this?
boys.
Well, and I think it's great for the sport as well to have a champion like Dallas, and
Building
someone
suspense.
who sets the bar so high that every other musher can aspire to.
Sure. I'm gonna grab these two right here, and we're gonna bring North on this side.
He's up there with his lead dogs now.
Right there, just like the junior Iditarod champion shot, I never got.
We saw him this morning in Squentna. He was tired. Didn't get the rest that he had wanted in Rainy Pass because of a problem with some horses. But that's a story for another day. But he ended up in Squentna for his 8-hour rest. I think he got a bit of a snooze there, but Bruce, exhaustion set in a few days ago for these mushers. And when you get here first, I think that you've taken, you know, the limits of the human body to places that few people understand.
Well, think of this aspect. How many other sports where athletes push themselves so much? They're always tired. But this one goes on for days and days and days. Most athletic events are just for hours, and this is a real test.
I think they're going to come up now and do the official check on his sled. And checker Nicole Wisniewski will listen in.
I see your snowshoes, but you're going to have to show me a few other things.
All right.
You got a copy of your vet book?
I do. Brought it all by myself.
Good job. Nobody to thank this year. Okay, how about a sleeping bag?
I got one of those up here.
And I see a cooker and booties along
Cooker,
with that.
booties, sleeping bags, and
There.
you like how organized my sled is?
Yeah, typical man.
There's a sleeping bag.
Okay. And I saw booties. I saw snowshoes. Do you have some promotional mail for me?
I do.
Perfect. I'll take that.
Okay. And then you're probably looking for the axe, huh?
That's the last thing on my list, Dallas.
It's right here.
There's the handle. If I could get your signature, please.
Okay.
Cat. There you go. Congratulations on your 5th Iditarod victory. In 7 days, 14 hours, 8 minutes, and 57 seconds. Congratulations, Dallas.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, Dallas Seavey. I'm not sure where our camera is, so I'm just going to jump in here. Okay, number 5. Can you sum it up?
Comes after 4, I guess.
But historically, you've been chasing this now. It's a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal. You know, ever since I won my first Iditarod and was the youngest to win, people have been asking about, oh, you're going to get 5, you're going to get 5. And I've always said I'm going to get the next one. And someday 5 might be the next one. And that's today. You know, it was finally the next one, and we got it. And yeah, it's huge, man. I mean, I've looked up to Iditarod champions my whole life, and I've dreamed about this my whole life. And now to actually go from that, you know, to see it happen, to realize it, that's pretty cool. So yeah, it hasn't hit me yet, but it will. I haven't let myself think about it this whole race. It's like, don't even think about it, don't jinx it. So
I know it'll hit you, but what also hit me tonight or this morning was that your granddad's here, your dad Mitch is here, your mom's here, the whole family's here, and now your name is in a place that only 2 names exist, Rick Swenson and now Dallas Seavey. It's a big deal, Dallas.
yeah, I honestly don't know what to say to that. You're right. You pretty well summed it up right there. Yeah, where do you go from here, you know? I think right now it's just enjoy it. I try to give myself a little bit of time after each one to revel in it, and then it's time to move on to the next one and forget about it and focus on doing the next, whatever it is. May it be this, maybe something else, but whatever you're doing, give it your whole attention, and we'll dwell on the records or the numbers when we're too old to keep doing it. That's the time to look back at it, but for right now I want to keep moving. So I'll allow myself a couple weeks.
Heck of a charge there at the end and really wanted to get here, but you're able to stave it off.
Yep, no, it was pretty fun to be with Aaron again out there. Somebody mentioned it, you know, about me and Aaron being parked there, and kind of like old days, you know?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, yeah, we're just missing a few elements, one of which obviously would be Allie Zirkle, who I really wish would have been there with us, and feel terrible for her. But you know, and then Jeff and my dad. But I mean, that was the crowd a few years ago, so it was cool to be there with Aaron. It was cool to be racing him, but it was also really neat to see some new people up there too, pushing the level, and we might see some new faces in the top 5 even, so that'd be pretty cool. But it's a new crowd, but it's the same type of people. It's the same spirit, right? Just trickles down to the next generation.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Iditarod champion for a 5th time. How about some noise for Mr. Dallas Seavey? And now the COVID test.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Where are we at? Hi, Bruce. They want us to turn back to the cameras. Well, that's a great moment. You know, and once again, we get to be here to witness this. And Bruce, you know how hard they work and how much energy and how much of their life goes into just being competitive in this event. But when you're able to win it 5 times, you've committed so much of your life and your life's energy to it. This is a big deal.
A lot of thought, a lot of planning, and most of all, the will to do the work. And that I think is the real key. It is a lot of work through the entire year, and that's what allows a person to reach a level like this.
Yeah. I want to make sure I've got other duties here that I'm not missing. Okay. Hi, where is Mitch? Is Mitch Seavey around here? I know he's here. Oh, he's up with Dallas. So I'm gonna walk the microphone up here, maybe. Mitch, your son just won number 5.
I'm really, really happy for him. He sure put a lot into it, and coming back after a break, it was really something he wanted, you know, really badly, and I think he did everything right to get it done. There's no guarantees, but when you apply your talents and work that hard, you know, good things can happen. I'm proud of him, of course, but more than anything, just really happy for him that this worked out.
And a Seavey now is next to Rick Swenson with 5. Like, it's got to be a big, like, the next Seavey family meal must be a little different now.
Well, I have to say that is a really, really cool achievement and cool accomplishment, but I don't think a lot of us are looking at numbers and, well, I can't say we don't talk about who won the most because I get a lot of crap from Dallas, but it's about doing each thing that you do as well as you possibly can, and that's what he did this race. That's what he'll do another race, and if there's more wins, great, but when you get here and you know you did the best you can, that's a victory of some sort, and in this case, he got here first. Super happy.
Thanks, Mitch. Okay, I think we're going to do a check presentation. Okay, Hans, you want to take the microphone?
Guess we can do it that way?
Yeah.
Dallas, on behalf of the principal sponsors, GCI, Donlin Gold, and ExxonMobil, we wish you the very best and congratulations. And it is my great honor to present to you this check for $40,000.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
You would have loved those. You would have loved Hey, congratulations there, sir. Welcome back to
Vern Halter, John Hanlon.
probably the most strategic, best run race I've ever. So, really good job.
Awesome. Thank you for saying so. I appreciate it.
Dallas, welcome on behalf of the city of Nome. We extend our congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Wish it was under the burled arch, but you'll just have to do it again next year.
We'll see what we can do. No
right.
promises.
Thank you.
That's a tall order.
Great race. It's incredible. Yeah. Watching you the whole way was really something.
It means a lot coming from you. So thank you for saying that. I think it was a good plan. There's a lot of little mistakes in there. But I think on the big strokes we made well. The little ones, you know, those are the ones that bother me though. the ones that probably I was the only one to see them a few minutes here or there, but they add up.
Been many of them. So.
Fair enough.
How do you like the weather here compared to like Ophir and Iditarod?
You know, that 55 below in Ophir was really fun camping out in. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I'm happy to be back home in the Mat-Su Valley. So yeah.
Coming back here. Great race.
All right, thanks, Ed. Appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen. We still have a few things to get through here. There'll be a presentation of a snow machine and also the Garland of Roses presentation. That's coming yet. Yeah, I think he's figuring things out with our race manager and marshal, Mark Nordman. There'll be a presentation of a Garland of Roses yet for his 2 lead dogs that he would like to feature and memorialize or make sure that they live on in history. Let's go up here. Maybe we can get some names. Here's Stuart Nelson, head vet. Hi, Stu.
How are we doing, Greg?
Good to see you. Great race, huh?
Yes, very good.
And then you guys can take the other ones over to the truck. Do we have any leashes? Yeah. Hi. How's it going?
Hey, Dallas. We haven't seen you in a while, man.
I know, right? Do we have any leashes by chance? 2 leashes would be great.
All right, he's picking his dogs now. The Garland of Roses, asking for some leashes. Dallas, which ones? Give us their name.
All right, so this guy that I'm getting right here is North. He's in lead with his brother West right now. North has been doing most of the leading ever since I had to drop Prophet, who going through Roan cut one of the pads on his feet, and he was my super leader, and North was supposed to be the backup. They have the same father, it's his half brother. Yeah. But so North really stepped up and did a vast majority of the leading just for the bulk running, setting a fast pace going down the trail. Leaders, so he's going to be one of my Yellow Rose leaders. He's the 8-year-old in the team. He won with me in 2016, so I think Gamble just set a record for the longest span between 2 wins for a sled dog.
Nice.
So 16 to 21, he's had quite a career.
Gamble!
With Gamble, his mother is my Yellow Rose and Golden Harness lead dog Guinness from 2012. His father was the other Yellow Rose lead dog, Diesel. So I guess they hit it off on that race.
Well, this is a great moment. One of the favorites for Iditarod champions. Bruce, it takes more than just 2 dogs to win a championship, doesn't it? But you can't win without great lead dogs.
Leaders make the difference.
Give us a sense. 8-year-old lead dog. That's a veteran dog, isn't it? Where are you at, Bruce? I don't see you.
Right behind you.
Oh, okay. Oh, jeez. You're incognito in the darkness, but 8-year-old, that's a veteran lead dog. Been around.
Yeah, that was an interesting little fact that won before with that span, and the reason we recognize the lead dogs is because those are probably the ones that have the closest connection with the musher, taking the commands and leading the whole team. So they are very special dogs.
I also enjoyed what he said about how he stepped up after he left Profit, and these dogs stepped up, and I think that kind of shows the depth of every dog, their ability.
And it's not the first time in Iditarod history, or really any race's history, where the champion gets to the finish line and points out a dog that maybe performs better than they expected. You see that oftentimes in a lot of different sports when a certain teammate plays a role that maybe you didn't anticipate. But this is another example of that in sports. And it looks like his entire team now will be taken down to the dog truck and probably get a good hot meal, enjoy their championship, and these two dogs now will get their pictures taken.
Garland Roses there to recognize them, and photographs taken will live in history like the ones from the early 70s.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite images of a champion under this banner every year. And the rose is obviously one of the great traditions now in this race, and a great opportunity for all these people with cameras to get a lasting image. Give us a sense of how tired he is.
You know, you are tired when you get to the end of a race, every musher is, but the reality is it's also the adrenaline and the excitement of finishing. The lead dogs, on the other hand, would probably just as soon be out on the trail than having a bunch of people they don't know staring at them.
With bright lights in their eyes. And Bruce is a musher. I mean, all the dogs are important, obviously, but these lead dogs are different, aren't they?
Yeah, because your life and your well-being out on the trail depends on them, and theirs depends on you. It's the ultimate bond with the dog. I mean, a lot of people have great relationships with their dogs, pets or working dogs or whatnot, but these guys do it all.
(2012) his first Iditarod championship, and I think anybody close to this event knew that Dallas was going to be a champion. You can't predict 5 wins, but I have to admit I'm not surprised.
No, I don't think any of his fellow competitors are either. I mean, that's why they always ask, and where is he? And
yeah.
I knew that was a main competitor that they had to deal with. Great looking dogs.
I'm fine.
I'm
They
sure
look like they still got a lot left.
And they won't have to make a far trip home after this.
No.
Go down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dallas up near Talkeetna now.
Got a little bit of time.
It's not a
Yeah.
long trip home. Don't have to get on an airplane. And they'll be back with their comrades very soon.
And I enjoyed that part when you were talking to him, Greg, how he said it's the next one, it's the next one. We're going to give a brief moment to enjoy it, and then we'll be on to the next one. And I think that's just kind of the mentality of a champion.
And Bruce, when you win a race like this, when's the next time you get back on the dog team? Do you take a day off? Do you take a week off? Do you get right back on the runners?
Most people take a few days and relax and just let their dogs rest and kind of just recuperate from the trail, but usually within a week you want to get back out there and stretch them out and run again. And like Dallas has already said, he's going to absorb this one, but you just take them one at a time, and then you start looking to what are we going to do next. But it's always fun to get back out on the trail with the dogs. And after spending this much intense time with them, you really kind of miss them if you're not out there with them. I mean, that bond.
Well, Patrick, he's just the first one here. We've got a lot of other teams to get to this finish line before this Iditarod is over.
I'm excited to see Aaron Burmeister. He had a great race, and it was fun to watch him and pursue Dallas. And I felt like they brought the best out in each other.
And Dallas brought it up, the fact that you have two historical names. There's Aaron's dad ran the early races, and of course the Seaveys have been around this since day one. And it was great, kind of a moment, a chance to reflect back on where this thing started back in 1973 and those names and families that have been a part of this race for generations now.
And so many of these mushers coming in throughout the top 5, a lot of them could have some of their career best finishes. So that's something I'm looking forward to, is kind of seeing who's going to get that career best finish.
Yeah, Mila Porcel, we've been talking about her all day. She's, I think, in 4th place right now. Aaron Burmeister is about 17 miles back. Brent Sass will be behind him. So we've got a lot to go this morning. Probably before the sun comes up, we're going to have another couple of mushers under this finish line.
And all the mushers have worked hard, especially in that cold weather, to get here and traveling the trail, a new trail or new race course, I should say, coming back here. It's just he's lucky enough and worked hard enough to get here first. But they all had adventures. They've all worked hard. They've all spent a tremendous amount of time on the trail with their dogs. That's what's really great about this event. Everybody's goal is to win at some point, but it's really about crossing Alaska with sled dogs that is the real reward.
And it takes so much training. It's a year. You don't just sign up and go out and do it. There's so much effort and work it takes to get in. So I think that's a great thing when you see all these teams finish and see all their hard work pay off.
Yeah, I would say it's actually a 4-year investment, because it starts with figuring out which dogs to breed to have the genetics, and genetics is what it's all about. I think it was Martin Boozer that I first heard say the 2 weeks of racing is just kind of the test of, are you doing everything right the other 50 weeks? And so you got those dogs that you've raised from puppies bred from 4 years ago. It's a long-term goal for sure. And that's what partially makes it so rewarding for each musher to make it to the finish line.
Could you sleep right after a race like this? I know some mushers have trouble. They haven't slept a lot for days, and now you gotta get some rest, but sometimes it's hard to sleep after you've been awake for so long.
Well, I never slept right after a race, because you have a group of people that are happy for you, and there's that excitement. I mean, when you do sleep, you really, really sleep. It kind of hurts when you wake. It doesn't kind of hurt. It hurts when you wake up, but.
Well, he's been hurting a lot. He was talking about his lips cracking this morning in Squentna, but 55 below zero, camped out, it just hurts. There's no way around that, is there? We were camped out at 55 below, like it hurts.
Yes, it does. And on top of that, they have to work with their hands and the dogs. But
I was thinking on the way in here, just finally letting myself start to think about 5. In the last few miles here, I've only had my kennel now for a few years, and we've run 10 Iditarods. So we've had a pretty good success rate out of that since I've had my own gang. And it started with his mother and father and whatnot. So,
tell me a little bit about the differences between this course and the traditional Iditarod course. How would you compare them? What was tougher? What was easier?
Yeah, there's the southern route of the Iditarod, out to Iditarod, since 2013, long time ago. So that was kind of, I was really struggling to remember what is this trail like out here as I was going through it, and then I'd see something and I'd remember it, like, okay, yeah, and I'd then kind of know the next 10 miles maybe, but it is different, but I love a new and different puzzle. In some ways, I've been pretty fortunate for that. In the last few years, we've had more alternate routes and special routes in the Iditarod than ever. And I've gotten to be part of, all of those, basically, and have won 2 of them now. I like those different routes. I like the ones that force us to forget about what we thought we knew and reassess it from the very base, which is traveling with dogs. Look at the course, look at the challenges, and look at how the dog is going to perceive those challenges, and then set them up for success. Put them on that course in a way that they can succeed, in a way that is fast, aka challenging, but doable. And I think that's what we've done well. So I like the different courses because it allows us a little more room to breathe. Whereas the traditional route, of course, that is the traditional route. I love it. but there's been done so many times, we can do homework and research and know that this is a proven way to work. And you see people play it safe and revert back to what other people have done rather than really creating their own. So I felt like that was an opportunity here to be the one to figure out how to run this course best. And I think that was a large portion of our success on this race, is that I think our game plan going into it appropriately assessed how quick we would need to go, but didn't, I didn't set us up to go do a 7-day flat race. We saw that that wasn't going to happen, but we also saw that an 8-day race would be too slow. So I think we nailed it on the pacing right off the bat.
Are you going to be back for number 6 next year?
Too soon to say. This is a few weeks that I get to live this one. All right.
Can I ask you, Dallas, quick, after 7.5 days on the trail, what are you looking forward to doing immediately next? What's in your immediate future after the win?
I'm going to enjoy a minute where I don't have anything that has to be done right now. Because that's the part that hasn't been there. Even when you sleep, the rare moments you get on the Iditarod when you sleep, you have to do it right now. And it is a job, it is a chore. I have to go to sleep so that I can serve my team. Every minute on this race, you ask yourself, what can I do right now to support my team? And sometimes the answer is, I have to sleep for 10 minutes so that I can think clearly and take care of them later. So that's what I enjoy most, is I'm going to sit down, I'm going to have a few of these guys with me, and I'm going to have nothing to do right now other than just enjoy that moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark.
Well, as Dallas makes his way home, I think we're going to send it back to our folks in Anchorage, and there's the 5-time champion, Dallas Seavey.
Impressive. Great champion.
Congratulations, Dallas.
Check. Check.
Is that going outside too?
What?
It is? Yes. Can you do it one more time?
Check.